All right. Well, hello. Live from Phoenix in Studio B, I'm your host, Kathy Young, and I'm here with my co-host, Rebecca Wininger and Bill Farmer. And tonight, we're here on the agenda because we think it's time to out the agenda. And apparently, to wave. I don't know where the camera's. Hi. Yeah, we don't know. So not only can you listen to us at QTalkAmerica.com, but you can now watch us live with video. How's everybody feeling about that?
I don't know, a little iffy. I didn't sign any disclaimer before I came in here, so I don't know how to act now.
This means we have to keep on our clothes, during the entire segment.
That's right. No more naked shows for us. Although, right,
start charging.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So you can join us in the chat room at QTalkAmerica.com, and you can also give us a call and chat with us live on the air at 888-791-9294. So yeah. So I've had an exciting week. Can we just start with that? Because I'm excited. Had an exciting week.
It's only Wednesday, so.
I know, it's only Wednesday, and I got to say the first 2 days were pretty exciting. So Monday, got a call from our favorite Congresswoman, Kyrsten Sinema. Well, my favorite Congresswoman, Kyrsten Sinema. And she wanted to make sure that there were LGBT families at the White House Easter egg roll that's coming up. And she said, Kathy, I would like to give your family 4 tickets to go to the White House and apparently roll painted eggs or something. I don't actually understand what's going to happen here. But I just know that we get to go to the White House lawn and have a party. And, it's a big deal. It's actually the oldest event that it's the oldest kind of presidential tradition, as well as the most attended event at the White House. It's the largest event that the White House holds annually. So,
and you passed the background check. Amazing.
Well, I don't know about that yet. I mean, we haven't gotten that far yet. But
just got the tickets.
Yeah, we're working on the tickets and getting there and figuring all that out. But support from the community has been amazing. Quality Arizona has been helping out, and HRC's been helping out to get me there. And so it's been great. But yeah, the kids were super cute when we told them. Their mouths just dropped. Their jaws were like, we're doing what? And then Ian was like, wait a minute. How do we get there? And we're like, on a plane. We get to take a plane too? I don't know what was more exciting to him. The fact that he was going to get to, go to the White House and, maybe see President Obama or ride a plane. So it's big week in the Young house. So that's what's going on. So cool. Yeah, it's been cool. So,
and then
I got a promotion at work, but that has nothing to do with being gay or politics or anything like that. So,
no, but it's just
right, but
exciting week,
right? And so all these phone calls kept coming in. So they usually come in threes. So I was waiting for a phone call, but if I didn't get a phone call today, then I was going to try to play the lottery or something like that. So I have my scratch off tickets here, and so I was going to do that kind of on the air so we could see if I win, if my third big hit for the week comes in now, because it's kind of I haven't had anything today, any big calls. So cha-ching, that's
hopefully.
Right. That's right. What's everybody else got going on?
Well, hopefully we're going out for drinks after the show.
That's right, because I'm going to win here.
Get some bingo.
Exactly.
Yeah, they gave me these really. When you play like the Powerball or whatever, right? Like it's really a no-brainer. They just kind of magically, unless you pick numbers and then you have to think, but otherwise they
just pick.
Right, assign you numbers and then
please.
I don't know, it just pops up on the TV and either you win or you don't. So when I missed the time for that, so now I got these scratcher things and there's like directions and I'm like, I don't know, what are the popular ones? And she's like, this one. I said, great, give me some of those. And they're hard and I don't understand and it's complex. It's like crossword and I'm like, what is going on? So yeah, I may be distracted here. So yeah. So what do you guys got going? I got to scratch some tickets.
It was. I just had to laugh today because I was sick in bed the first part of today and just sitting there and kind of watching what people are posting on Facebook, and I saw Neil Giuliano say, "Oh, there's white smoke."
Yeah.
They've elected a pope, and I was like, "Oh, cool." So I flip over to Headline News, thinking they're going to be talking about who got chosen pope. No, it's a freaking Jodi Arias trial.
It's either that or it's one or the other.
Day 364 of Jodi Arias on the stand is like, oh.
But we got a new pope faster than that.
Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, and there's a pope. So cardinal.
Yay?
No.
Right.
I know. I'm like, really.
The guy was 81 who retired, and we choose the guy who's 76 to come in and replace him. And it's like, yeah, okay. Do we not have a young guy in there?
Do we want a young guy?
Yeah.
I mean, is there really a cardinal in this day and age that is pro LGBT rights? Like at this point, isn't it? Isn't it better to just have the old ones so that we have like these short timers and then
just keep moving them in and out,
because I don't know if I really want a young one that may be in there for 20, 25 years and not really change their stance on this.
I mean, did we have any doubt though that this guy was going to be less of
No.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. I seriously don't think.
If anything, he's more anti.
Yeah, he's more. But, I really don't ever see a pope coming in and completely changing doctrine of because I think the first thing that they would do, if anything, is probably ixnay the celibacy so that they could try to get more men coming in as priests, or they would ixnay men only as priests and see if they could do women priests first before they even think about pro-choice and pro-LGBT. So. But anyway, this guy's Argentinian, and he was the first Latin American pope ever chosen. He will lead the world's 1.2 billion Catholics as Pope Francis. Thought that was kind of interesting. And while his selection may be historic, it'll be more the same when it comes to gay rights in the Catholic Church. So Pope Francis is a conservative, shocking, breaking news, who is anti-gay and anti-gay adoption. He's described same-sex marriage as the work of the devil and a destructive attack on God's plan. He also said, I love this one too. He also says that gay adoption is a form of discrimination against children. In 2010, Francis championed against a bill for the same-sex marriage and gay adoption, according to the National Catholic Register. The Argentine people will face a situation whose outcome can seriously harm the family, he wrote to the 4 monasteries in Argentina. At stake is the identity and survival of the family, father, mother, and children. At stake are the lives of the many children who will be discriminated against in advance and deprived of their human development given by a father and a mother and willed by God. At stake is the total rejection of God's law engraved on our hearts. He went on to describe it as a move of the father of lies who seeks to confuse and deceive the children of God, and asked for lawmakers not to act in error. So I love it. We're now part of the Father of Lies group here. So.
I find it fascinating because we've had so many reports come out and studies and, of where the practicing Catholics are on this, right? So not the cardinals, not the Pope, but, the actual day-to-day, I got to interact in the real world Catholics. And they don't have a problem with marriage equality. The polling is not an issue. I don't know as though there's been a lot of polling on adoption. I'm not as familiar with that. But, this is not, it's not a big deal to them. And so the fact that there are such strong opinions coming from the top, to me, is an alienating thing for the church, right? I mean, we saw where in the last election, there's a lot more people moving away from organized religion, and they're not identifying that way anymore. And that doesn't mean that they're not spiritual. It doesn't mean that they're non-believers now, but it just means that they don't want to associate with what's happening with organized religion. And so, I mean, the Catholic Church makes a lot of money, right? I mean, there's that's right. There's a kind of a standard plate that goes around there, and
but the last 10 to 15 years, they've been actually having to pay out a lot of money too. So
that's
right.
Let's
keep that in
I
mind.
think that's going to keep happening. I mean, I think that they're going to have to keep paying out in all sorts of legal fees that come up from certain things, and I don't think that those legal issues are going to go away for them, and I think that this marriage equality issue, just like the Republicans, right? I mean, they're going to become, I think organized religion is going to make itself irrelevant if they keep having this hard stance on gays, because people have friends, people have family, and they don't want to go to church in a place where it says to love thy neighbor and teach this doctrine, and then I can't love my neighbor because they're gay. It doesn't. It really, people are starting to really be like, you know what? Yeah, I don't know what you're doing here.
Yeah.
And so I really think that organized religion, just like the Republicans, is going to have to catch up before it becomes irrelevant.
Well, in the population of people attending Catholic churches in countries where we're seeing LGBT and pro-choice rights being more embraced has actually been dropping. I mean, they've been gaining overall, but it's mostly been in the Latin Americas, the South America, and Africa. So,
right, and that's a good point. I mean, I'm speaking from an American perspective, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, Catholicism is worldwide, and the Pope is not just about what's going on here in America, and that's why there won't be an American Pope probably for a long time. I mean, we have some very conservative cardinals, but if somebody's going to shift places, it needs to come from one of these more progressive places. Like, what are they going to do? Send someone from Canada? Like that. Like, what happens? At what point does a from a pro-marriage equality country become a cardinal? I mean, become the Pope. At what point does a cardinal get elevated to that status? And is that what we have to wait for? Where there's a country that's already embraced it, and maybe the Catholic Church hasn't, and so that particular cardinal can't fully embrace it, but yet they have to deal with it because it's happening in their country. I mean, it's the law of the land there.
Yeah, well, and if you're a priest and you want to go up the ranks, to Monsignor, and I don't know what it is, Bishop, Archbishop, Cardinal, but if you want to go up the ranks, the fact is you have to toe the Catholic line. I mean, you can't be a priest and say, let's have a conversation in our congregation about LGBT rights and hope
there is no conversation.
Yes, there is no conversation, and
Yeah.
hope to go up the ranks and become more than just a parish
Mm-hmm.
priest. So, yeah, that would be a career limiting, if not ending, move for some of those.
Nice. Well, good luck. Good luck to Pope Francis.
Yes,
and I'm sure we'll be talking about you quite a bit. And good luck with all your lawsuits.
Yeah,
love that.
That's Francis with an IS, not Francis with an ES.
Just for hey.
All right. So what's going on in Colorado?
Colorado.
We got a lot of stuff going on.
Where's our I'm just gonna see. Where's our how do we do this? I'm not actually pointing.
It's going to be that way.
It's gonna be
you're
that
on
way.
camera, right?
All right.
Wow.
Showing you the picture, because this picture in the front page of 1A in Denver Post created, this is my favorite word lately, created a little bit of a kerfluffle.
A kerfuffle,
A
you say.
A kerfuffle.
I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah, I love that one.
Try and use that during the week.
Yeah, so Colorado approved a civil unions bill for the LGBT population this week, and the Denver Post then found themselves in a pickle for the photo to go along with the story. Post photographer Craig Walker followed House Speaker Mark Ferrandino back to his office after the bill was sent to the governor's desk. And Ferrandino, who is gay, has been fighting for this bill to get passed at least for the last 3 years. And he spoke eloquently on the subject while the bill was being debated, so it made sense to get his perspective. Walker captured what photographers and photo editors will describe as the moment when a picture shows in a single image the essence of the story. He photographed Ferrandino kissing his partner, Greg Wirtz, goodbye after the passage of Senate Bill 11. And the Post had received objections before the Post had received objections before of running photographs of gay couples, so knew that there was likely to be negative reaction to running the picture of Ferrandino. The civil union's vote was historic for Colorado, and celebrating it was not a surprise. And that led one editor to note, "We have no issue showing straight couples kissing on election night." So, kudos to the Denver Post for running the photograph.
Nice.
And Illinois is so. Colorado at least passed the civil unions. We don't consider that equality, but it's a step. It's a start. And then Illinois is in the House of Representatives, right? That's where their vote is next.
Yeah, I think
for their marriage bill.
I think so. That sounds right.
So I saw the thing with Beau Biden. Did you see that video?
Beau Biden. No.
Yeah, he came out and endorsed marriage equality.
Oh, Beau.
Beau, yeah.
The dog. I'm like, Beau.
Beau Obama.
Yeah,
Beau.
I'm like, Beau. Okay. You talking the dog?
No, I'm sure the dog's all for it, too.
Yeah, Beau. I'm like, Beau Biden. I'm not recognize that one.
That's
Nice.
Beau Obama, I guess, would be... yeah. Anyway, the vice president's son.
Gotcha.
He came out and announced his full support for marriage equality, which is good. I mean... I guess he's talk of him being a senator back in his home state. I don't know if you've heard any of that, but that's a good guy to have in our back pocket, so to speak.
The apple doesn't fall far fall far from the tree. The speech might, but the apple doesn't. I saw somewhere yesterday, and I can't find it now. But maybe it was this one. Well, I'll see. I had the number too high. I was thinking that it was something about the 20 states that would be the next ones for marriage equality, but it was just 12. So I was off. But they're predicting 12 states that will probably legalize gay marriage in the 2013-2014.
How many?
2-year span. 12.
Oh, wow.
So they're saying that we're going to go from 22 years to get 10 states plus DC, or including DC, to now 12 in just the next 2 years. So here's the list. They suspect Illinois will be at the top. That will be the next one, the easiest one. Then Rhode Island, then Delaware, New Jersey, Minnesota, Hawaii, Michigan, Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, Nevada, California.
No,
so
Arizona, huh?
No. Somehow Arizona did not make those top ones.
Somehow, yeah.
Now, I find it interesting, though, that California is so far down. Because they specifically picked this order.
Oh, really?
So are they
Okay.
not expecting DOMA? They're not expecting Prop 8 then to fall? Because if Prop 8 falls, then
maybe they're hedging their bets and saying it won't. But I don't see how DOMA and Prop 8 can't both be thrown out. So
yeah, well, that's because we're gay.
It's just common sense too.
No, I agree, but I feel like if you are a staunch NOM supporter, right, then you're going to be like, well, of course it is. Of course it's absolutely constitutional. Everything that we've ever worked for in past is 100%, gay, bad. And so, it's easy for us to sit here and go, it's absolutely unconstitutional. We know it. The facts are there. Everything is there. That doesn't mean that the Supreme Court is going to vote that way.
Our way, yeah.
It just,
Hey, I posted a meme on Facebook earlier in the week where it said, Canada, we don't care who you marry as long as both of you watch hockey. And I was like, honey, we're moving. So
yeah, my wife's been trying to get me to move to Canada for a long time now. She's like, I'm so done with this country. But yeah, so I was a little bit surprised by the order. New Jersey could go. They just need to really veto the governor's decision there.
Yeah, Christie has already said he won't sign it, so they would have to ratify it again, right?
He already vetoed, and so they would have to override his veto.
Okay,
and they're looking to do that. Illinois is still shaky at this point, but
I just don't see Michigan either. Michigan's pretty conservative, and not very
and so but it's kind of fun how they do this because they have some statistics there. So in Michigan, the LGBT population density is 3.8, which in this list is kind of in the middle. They do have a state law that bans it, and they do have a constitutional ban from 2004. Public support is right at 50% right now. Lawmakers are likely to pass it, but the governor is not likely to sign it. But there are some federal court cases that are going there. So they're looking at a lot of different stuff about the federal court cases and kind of where that's going to play into all of this. So it's interesting how they came up, with this list.
Yeah, Michigan, I was reading, and I don't remember the exact circumstances, but Michigan has a case moving towards its Supreme Court and then will probably be bumped to Federal Court of Appeals. It's a couple, and it has to do over adoption rights. But somehow the argument that they're making over the adoption rights also actually ends up challenging the marriage ban as well. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, they have, where the highest percentage of public support by voters is in Rhode Island. And it also lists, the marriage equality neighbors. So, of course, Rhode Island has Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New York with some kind of civil unions or marriage equality around it. The LGBT population there is very high for this list at 4.5%. They already have civil unions. They do not have a constitutional ban to deal with. And the voter public support in Rhode Island, 75%.
Oh, wow.
The lawmakers support it. The governor supports it. Hi. Maybe can we get this done?
Yeah.
I don't understand why this isn't just done now. Like, what are we talking about here? So 75% public support was the highest on the list. The lowest on the list is actually New Mexico at 47%. There's no state law. There's not a constitutional ban going on there, but they don't have a supportive governor. So there's likely to be, or maybe. Is a possible 2014 ballot initiative is what they're looking at. So it's kind of interesting.
It would be great if California, Nevada, and New Mexico would all pass it, because then we'd be surrounded.
Got that right.
We have to relent. Oh, then there would be secession from the United States with President Brewer in charge then.
Or would all the people that didn't agree move here? Like, oh my God, we have to get out of the state
because they just have to move.
Yeah, good Lord. All right, so I did not win my first scratcher card, so I'm looking at the instructions now.
But
bingo.
I would just have to say that if the gay people and the gay supportive businesses would just move out of Arizona, then you would really see economic failure here in this state.
Nice.
I'm just saying. Exactly.
Yeah. Just totally go. So the Boy Scouts have a new poll out.
Yes.
What's this all about?
You didn't see it?
I did. I saw it, but you can tell me what's it all about. I gotta scratch this card.
Because God forbid we actually make a decision, on our own. So we decided as the Boy Scouts of America that we're going to survey our members to determine the views on homosexuality, gay leaders, and allowing gays to camp with children, because that's what it's all about. What happens in the tent stays in the tent. The 13-question survey was sent to 1.1 million adult scouts, asking them to share their views on the impact of banning or allowing gay members. Scout spokesman Deron Smith says the organization is in a listening phase as it struggles with a decision on whether to lift its ban on gays. Some of the questions have been identified as: should gay scouts be allowed to share tents with straight scouts on camping trips? So, we're going to have one tent that says S for straight and the other tent that says G for gay. And maybe we'll have a T, too.
What I love is... we'll go on with the questions.
Another question is, does the Scout Oath's reference to being morally straight imply to being sexually straight? If a church sponsoring a Scout troop, and more than 70% of units are chartered by faith-based organizations, so if a church sponsoring a Scout troop opposes or supports homosexuality, should that make a difference? And of course, the ultimate question, if members disagree with our decision, will they remain involved or will they quit? Because, that's what it's all about. How many people are going to flee the scenes if we make the wrong decision?
Well, and so how many, I'm curious if there is a questionnaire out to sponsors, right? Like, so I understand that they don't want their membership to leave, but they also have significant corporate sponsors and backing and things like that. So this is a great question to go out, and I love your S tent and G tent and everything else. But and then so what do you do, right? Like, you can't put all the gays in the gay tent because that sounds like a party. Like I mean, the
all
point.
the gays in a pitched tent.
Yeah. Oh Lordy. So I mean, I'm sure they have to take that into consideration. Well,
money talks. Like.
Right.
That's where I don't know. We'll get Patrick back on the phone, our Boy Scout expertise, and see what he has to say. I don't know. I mean, I would think that they would have to take into consideration if they're having corporate sponsors and big money come in.
Yeah.
So they've already lost huge corporate sponsors.
Right. They're losing more than
FedEx, UPS, Intel. I mean,
how many more can they lose? They can't.
That's why they're talking about lifting the ban, because they don't sell cookies and all that money's gone.
Ah, those cookies are good. I bought 4 boxes this weekend. It's horrible, but they're really good.
Why don't they sell cookies? They should sell something.
Because they don't know how to make them. Because that's probably too gay.
It's just too gay. Nice.
Protein bars, yeah.
We'll sell man granola. I don't know.
Man granola. Oh, boy. Boy Scout man granola. Brought to you by...
granola, chocolate chips, and nails. Just spit it out. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Can we make a graphic for that? And now, Boy Scout man granola. There's got to be something in there.
I think that could be one of the sponsors for the show. Brought
Yeah.
to you by Boy Scout Man Granola.
Yeah, made with real nuts.
Oh, she keep it going.
Oh, yeah. We may have to start doing commercials now that we have
Yes.
video and everything.
And
so.
and how shriveled would the raisins be in your granola? So anyway.
Oh.
And because we always give airtime to the Boy Scouts, we have to give it to the Girl Scouts too. So since it's that time of the year again, as Bill mentioned, when Girl Scouts are out selling cookies, it's also the time of year for right-wing activists to attack the Girl Scouts. So Linda Harvey of Mission America got on her little soapbox, as she always does, and basically said this. This is not at all the way the organization started, because I'm sure she's old enough to remember how it started. But Girl Scout materials and programs support role models like radical feminists Gloria Steinem and Betty Friedan. They support homosexual lifestyles and feature prominent female homosexuals in some of their materials. Now, I guess Ellen must have done a commercial for them. At the same time, virtually absent is respect for authentic morality, Christianity, conservative viewpoints, and just plain old motherhood. So I guess she's complaining the Girl Scouts don't go out and get pregnant on their own. It's one more way that Girl Scouts or girls are being taught that unless you have an attitude of suspicion towards males in general, unless you bring home a paycheck, and unless you have a worldview based on self-indulgence with never a notion of sacrifice, you as a woman are really diminished in worth. Sexual self-restraint or restraint of just your own female pride, it should be avoided at all costs. So, I mean, basically, if you want your daughter to be a radical feminist with a homosexual lifestyle, with no authentic morality, being diminished in worth and sexual restraint, have her join the Girl Scouts. So,
Good idea. Let's do that.
yeah, I'm just like, really?
Man granola?
Yeah,
Really? I'm
You
still
don't like
on
that? You don't like the man granola?
Yeah.
Come on, that was funny.
I know, no.
That was good.
Yeah,
I think we
definitely.
could, Pride's coming up. We could.
I'll buy a box,
yeah,
a couple
we could-
boxes.
Yeah, a
from
couple
you.
of boxes.
We
of
could sell
granola. We could sell it. I mean, the concept of the Boy Scouts, right, is it's like, always be prepared, and they're supposed to be self-sufficient, and, I mean, it's building confidence and camaraderie and how to take care of yourself and all this. So why is that not okay for women? And what does it matter what your orientation is to learn how to be self-sufficient and to have confidence and, like to always be prepared? I don't get it. Like, what is so hard about that? And why, really? Like, what are they talking about with the whole, like women's, I mean, it's so sexist to say, like, we're not preparing them to be wives.
Pretty much. You're not preparing them to be barefoot and pregnant, so.
Yeah, whatever. I am totally confused by that concept and how that is equality and why you would want to promote that. I mean, just even equality amongst the sexes, right? Like, not even equality in terms of LGBT and all that and what they're promoting, but just equality in general. And like, I never got that. I mean, I thought I was a brownie. I did a little brownie thing. I don't really remember it because it was a long time ago. And you had to wear like a skirt dress thing, and I'm not about that. But anyway, so but I mean,
You gotta find a picture of
right, but it was, yeah, there's probably a picture. Just ask my mother. I'm sure she'd be happy to go dig it out. She probably knows exactly where it is. But I mean,
Jess, if you're listening, call the
Jess-
mom-in-law.
yeah, she will help find it. She'll probably just see that one. But I mean, I thought that it was a great program, and I had a friend in high school who was actually going to become a nun. Okay, like this was like really her thing. I was like, really? Anyway, and but she was like a lifer in the Girl Scouts. I mean, that is what she did. But she could do all sorts of things and had learned all sorts of skills and had a bunch of confidence and everything else. And it's like, why is that? Like, why is that bad? And why is, I don't understand why training someone to be a wife is.
I mean, they don't even, like, do they take the Girl Scouts camping? Like, do they have some of the...
I don't know. I mean, I think everybody has a different focus and a different feel for what they do. But it depends on what the leader does and all that. But they have, like, they
have
used
badges,
to,
but it's like how to sew badge or like how to prepare
I
a
used
meal.
to-
It's not all girly stuff.
No,
It's not all
I
girl
used to own martial arts studios, and we actually had our organization, as a nationwide organization, we actually got the Girl Scouts to approve a martial arts self-defense badge.
Oh, that's
so they
cool.
would actually come in and they would learn self-defense, and then they would earn
little
a
basic
badge.
techniques.
Yeah,
That's cool.
You know, I mean, that's confidence building. That's how to take care of yourself, right? Like that's what that is. And so, you know, that was cool. So yeah, they have a bunch of different badges. So
That's cool.
I don't remember what mine's, you know, back in the brownies.
Again, we'll make a phone call to Mom. We'll find out.
Yeah, it's going to be something
She has
scary.
her sash somewhere.
And I
Oh
guess,
my God, yeah.
I guess what I don't understand is why fight this? If the Boy Scouts don't want gays, why doesn't somebody just go start a different organization that's completely accepting? Take all that sponsorship money. Take the people who want to be involved in it.
Well, and some have. There are some dads that have started that.
You know, and same, you know, like just as I was struggling with why gay people would be registered Republicans, why would you be part of a political party that doesn't want you?
And says they don't
And
want you.
it's same thing with
out.
I really struggle, and I understand it's more of a faith-based thing based upon your own individual church, but I also don't understand why people who are gay choose to be Catholic.
Yeah.
I mean, I left organized religion a long time ago because I got tired of the priest saying, you know, it's okay to be gay. Oh, thank God. You just have to be abstinent. Yeah, okay, great, okay.
It's like the Michelle Bachmann. You can gay people can marry. They just have to marry someone of the opposite sex.
Yes, you can still marry.
Just like me and her husband Marcus. I don't know. Just saying.
Unbelievable. Speaking of that, I had lunch with my ex-husband the other day.
Oh.
It's always fun. We hadn't talked in many, many years, and then we reunited maybe a year and a half ago or something, and so it's been fun. Then whenever he comes to town, we have dinner or drinks or lunch or whatever, and it's nice to catch up. But yeah, so I did that. I did that whole marry the opposite sex thing. It didn't work out so well.
You're like,
no.
Yeah.
We made each other gay.
Okay, so Jess, we want the picture of Kathy in the little brownie dress, and we also want pictures of the wedding dress.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not in that order either.
Full on wedding dress. Yes. Yes. All right, where are we at?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? So there's no sound clip?
No. It's
Okay.
really funny because in the full desktop, the sound clip's there, but you go to the mobile and it's not there. So I was very disappointed.
I blame Apple.
Wah, wah, wah.
Mac stuff is.
That Flash.
Hey.
I have to talk positively in this room about Mac stuff because we're all.
I love it. I just
totally
wish they
run by-
supported Flash. That's the only thing I ever run into. Is
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know.
That is true. All right, recruit of the week.
I know we need a sound effect for that.
I don't know, Bill,
I
but
don't
you're
know,
up.
do you have-
You read it. Give yourself a
All right,
close
let
up
me
and go.
change. This is hard to change the. There we go. Okay, so the recruit of the week. Rebecca, don't laugh. I'm going to put it right back on you. The recruit of the week is actually a 62-year-old transgendered golfer named Bobby Lancaster from Gold Canyon, Arizona. She's who is aspiring to compete on the LGPA tour. But according to an article in the Arizona Republic, the golfer says she should not be permitted to compete against women in her age group and that younger golfers are more suitable competition. And she goes on to say, in my own humble opinion, I think it's very fair that I'm playing against a caliber of players I'm trying to play against because I have no advantage there. But for me to be allowed to play against women my age, I have a huge advantage. It's not fair, and that's why I'm probably not playing against them because I just feel like I have an undue advantage with my length. And I was a male exposed to testosterone for most of my life, so she's got the longer arms, a bigger build, and she even says I've got leverage that they don't have, so it's just not fair. Regardless of Lancaster's concerns about competing alongside her peers, the Republic says her club speed has declined from about 109 miles per hour to 96 miles per hour since her transition. She is out-driving women by about 100 yards. What else she goes on about, but has yet to win qualifying tournaments for the USGA Seniors Women's Amateur Championship. Lancaster may have an advantage in driving distance, but as a general golf advantage. Nevertheless, she understands that the questions about fairness, which is why she decided on the LGPA tour. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, you could see her whole the yardage. She's out driving I guess biological women would be the correct term. And then the speed has declined since transitioning and things. So you can see like the muscle growth and I don't know, and just things like that has totally.
I think 96 miles an hour is still damn good. So
yeah, I'm not complaining. I go putt golf at Castles and Coasters, and I get excited about that. But
no, I'm just laughing because last year at the Equality Arizona dinner during my speech, I had problems getting LGBT out, and one of my straight friends who was in attendance said, "Why next year? Why don't you just say the gay BLT?"
Gay BLT, okay.
It's you know. So the gay BLT community, I thought that's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. All right, Rebecca, reject of the week.
Oh,
not meaning that you are the reject of the week.
I'm seeing a lot of those lottery cards over there getting rejected.
Yeah.
So
I got the second one. Yeah, it's a loser. Another loser.
No.
Usually on the big ones, you at least get your money back. Come on.
I'm trying.
$2.
So $2 chuck, which has gone up to $3 chuck now because of the economy here. So as the Illinois House of Representatives prepared to consider a marriage equality bill, you just knew there had to be one uninformed crazy. We reject from the agenda Republican Gene Ives of Wheaton, Illinois, who stated in a recent radio interview with the Catholic Conference of Illinois, go figure, it is completely disordered relationships. And when you have a disordered relationship, you don't even get order out of that. I'm more than happy to take a no vote on the issue of homosexual marriage. What they're trying to do is not just redefine marriage, they're trying to redefine society, she continued. They're trying to weasel their way into acceptability so that they can start to push their agenda down into the schools, because this gives them some sort of legitimacy, and we can't allow that to happen. It's the natural right of the child to be with both parents, either in an adoptive nature or in a biological nature. To not have a mother and a father is really a disordered state for a child to grow up in, and it really makes that child an object of desire rather than the result of a matrimony. Do you have the little sound effect that goes, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo?
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
There you go. I guess my shock is not so much what she said, but why she's in Illinois and not in Arizona.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
This is usually what we get out of our Republicans here. So,
I love this headline: Vatican blows smoke. That's just a good
I
headline.
put a picture on Facebook of the smoke coming out, and somebody superimposed "Surrender Dorothy"
yes,
from the
I
Wizard
saw
of
that on
Oz.
your.
It looked great because it just looked like it was like just coming out.
Surrender Dorothy.
Yeah, we went and saw that. Did you see that new Oz movie?
No, how was it?
It was pretty good. I mean, there's a different take on it, but it was enjoyable. I would say to go see it.
Because he's from Argentina, one of the first headlines I saw was said "Holy See" with this. So it's like, okay. Oh, and speaking of crazy Arizonans, did you hear that? I'm like, really? So, for those of you who aren't a part of this great state, we have a Republican-controlled legislature, we have a Republican-controlled Senate, and we have a Republican governor. So basically, any bills that make sense, never get passed. And our minority whip, his name is Chad Campbell, and he's very outspoken. And I will say 99% of the time when Chad Campbell gets out and says something, I completely agree with it. I mean, he wants to focus on our kids. He wants to focus on education. He wants to focus on safety. He wants to focus on things that really make the most sense and matter to most people in Arizona. And did you see that today they launched a recall effort against him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and the other thing that you need to understand is Chad represents District 24, which is one of the most Democratic districts in the state. He and Leela and Katie always, win. Democrats always win by a landslide. So they're not even going to get the 23,000 signatures they need.
Doesn't they need 23,000?
Well, I think they said they need 11, and usually, so they probably need to get 16
and
to
it
17.
has to be from his district.
I think they have to be from their district. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's not.
And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Go ahead, knock yourself out. What a waste of time.
Waste your money.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. So I forget that Focus on the Family is headquartered in Colorado. So that's kind of fun with the whole civil unions thing passing and it being in Colorado. Yeah,
Colorado,
fun.
it's very funny because Colorado Springs is like a complete anthem of Colorado. I mean, Colorado is mostly, a lot of it is just very easygoing and liberal and everything. And then you get into Colorado Springs and then you get the people that just are a little, couple sandwiches short of a picnic.
A couple sandwiches short of a
Yeah,
picnic.
so
Oh man. So former President Clinton came out and said, it's time to.
I'm sorry. Yes.
It's time to get rid of DOMA. Right. I signed it. It was just a bad thing, and I do believe now that it's unconstitutional. I agree with the president and half of the world here that this is unconstitutional. Elizabeth Birch, who was the head of the Human Rights Campaign at the time when it was signed, and who was absolutely screwed by the Clinton administration and everybody. It was a tough time. She wrote a piece for Huffington Post and was like. And it basically was like
too little, too
late, and I'm not happy. Like, you fucked me over then, and I don't want to deal with this. And so it was a great piece. But I would like to hear your thoughts. So we want people to evolve, right? Like, this is right. Like we laugh when we say that President Obama evolved on this, right? Like, it was kind of a big joke because
we all kind of knew,
right? Yeah. And a lot of the times it is for whatever the political.
Climate
they have to kind of use the right thing, right? And it pisses us off, and we want them to just do it because it's the right thing, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the problem is when Clinton signed this, there was a threat to do a constitutional ban. He felt that by signing this into law, it stopped that from happening, which would be harder to change and harder to overturn. So this was actually kind of the lesser of the two evils. He also knew that if he didn't sign it, they already had a veto majority, a veto-proof majority that was voting for this. So if he had signed it, if he had vetoed it, the Congress already had enough votes passing it in the first place to overturn that. So he was like, I'm between a rock and a hard place here. If I don't sign it, they're going to overrule my veto. And if I don't sign it and they decide not to overrule the veto, they could push for the constitutional ban. So he signed it. Even though he believed he says, that he believes now, of course, that it's completely, unconstitutional and all this. I don't know. I mean, at that time, there really could have been a constitutional ban on gay marriage. And that would have been devastating. I mean, we would be in a completely different place now if that were the case.
You said Canada earlier, right?
Canada, okay, right, yeah. is where we would have to be. So I don't know. Part of me is completely in agreement with Elizabeth Birch. Like, yeah, and like, you really, we need someone to stand up. We needed someone to stand up, and you didn't do that. But on the other hand, did he ultimately stand up and take what was a better road for us?
Like a wink, wink, sort of.
Yeah, I don't know. So thoughts?
I agree with it was a bad thing to sign back then, but I don't think we would be sitting here with 12 states already, or 10 states already having the ability to marry, and the other 12 on the horizon. We'd still be we'd be waiting for the Supreme Court decision to overturn this, and we wouldn't have any precedent behind it. So I think we'd be looking probably at another 10, 20 years trying to overturn a ban on gay marriage if it had come at the federal level.
I mean, it's also like with the don't ask, don't tell thing. Yeah. I mean, he kind of signed it in, but then, they knew it was wrong. But at the time, I don't know when it was signed, 1996?
1996.
Yeah, he did both of those to us, yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of like...
Well, and even then, the don't ask, don't tell was a negotiation, because beforehand, mm-hmm. you got caught, you were discharged, and a lot of times you were dishonorably discharged.
Yeah. Right.
Which that's the next thing I want to see, and Allison would be... You have to get her back on the show and ask this, but what I want to know is the people who were dishonorably discharged in the past 10 or 20 years for homosexual conduct, if they're now going to go back and change them to an honorable discharge. If that was the only reason that they were kicked out of the military, that was the only reason that they were, told to leave.
I could see them saying that law was in place when when it happened, so therefore they're dishonorably discharged.
Right, you signed up, you still lied, blah, blah, blah.
I don't know, does the law, just because he changed it now, does that go back and undo what's been done, sort of? I don't know. That's a good question. that's something to look into.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Next Wednesday, we'll have the answer. Stay tuned.
But it's I think President Clinton was in a tough spot. So at what point, at what point is it okay to, was he being politically weak? Was he being politically savvy? One could argue that Obama coming out for marriage equality when he did helped to win him the election, right? Like, people were waiting for a bold move on that.
People thought it would also cost him the election,
People
too.
thought that, but in the end, he won a lot of votes on that, and it made people show up to vote, right?
It made me even a little bit like, I hope this doesn't come back,
right, and the community knew, though, that they needed to show up and they needed to support him. I mean, they were really looking for an energizing way to get the base out, right? And that, putting it in the Democratic platform, like, it moved the whole issue. I mean, the Democrats now, you can't really run for a high office and not. That's in the platform now. This is done. This is now.
Yeah.
If you're a Democrat, you're going to be pro marriage equality. In the majority of places. So, that was really a bold move, but it was also a very strategic move. So, was it brave or was it calculated?
I don't know. Who's to say?
I don't know.
He's such a smart guy. I would like to think that it was somewhat calculated and kind of, but I don't know.
I think that he's been pro marriage equality from the beginning. I just do. I think
I was like 10, so I don't know if I can really talk off of experience or just from what I know now,
he says he was for civil unions or, whatever, and then there was this big evolution. I just don't buy it. I think he had a political evolution of when it was politically correct. I don't think he had a personal in his
epiphany,
heart. Right. Like this is really where it is. That's just my personal belief. I know that's not his story that he's putting out there, and I know that's not the way it will be written, but I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
But that was signed before the election, the second term election, right?
What?
I said it was signed before the second term election, right?
Whose?
When
Where you at? Oh, yeah, I'm talking about Obama. And I'm talking about even before when HRC held that presidential forum or whatever they called it, and Hillary was on, and they spoke to each of the Democratic candidates, or anybody that wanted to show up, but only the Dems did. And they were all like, we're for civil unions, we wouldn't have a problem with this. And I'm like, bullshit.
We have to get elected,
right? And I'm like, bullshit. I'm like, you guys are really all for marriage equality. I think Kucinich was the only one that said it. He's like, I love the gays, bring it on. He's like, this is awesome. But everybody else was being a little bit reserved. I would support civil unions, and I'm like, really? Like, you're just being calculating, because you just won't say it now. People aren't ready to hear that now. But people in this day and age, before this election, were ready to hear it. But we'll never know the answer to that, whether or not, he was pro-marriage equality the whole way and just had a political evolution as opposed to a personal evolution.
No, he was negotiating a lot of stuff, you know, back then too. So it might have just been one part of a bigger chunk. So
that's right. All right, where are we at now? Did you know? All right, people. Did you know? Actress Valerie Harper, who is better known as Rhoda on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, was one of the first stars to utter the word gay on TV. Harper, who recently revealed that she has terminal brain cancer, recalled the scene in which she surprised Cloris Leachman's character by stating she wouldn't marry her brother Ben because he was gay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Did you know that?
Back on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Probably figured it would have been Maude, Maude B. Arthur.
Well, I love Cloris Leachman because she was on The Facts of Life, and that was my all-time favorite show. So
that's right. She
everything circles back to Facts of Life.
Replaced Mrs. Garrett.
That's right. She sure did. All right, what other news is going on? I don't have my normal computer here, so I don't have my.
We have the thing about the JetBlue flight. Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah, they're on board with marriage equality, right?
Yeah, and there was a married gay couple has penned an incredible testimony of the lengths of their staff on their JetBlue flight. They traveled to New York to tie the knot on 12/12/12. The couple, Rick and Liam, were apparently left truly speechless by the customer service they received during their flight. After learning of Rick and Liam's impending nuptials, flight attendants Virginia, Nicola, and Dan delivered a beautifully wrapped basket full of JetBlue snacks with handwritten notes and things like that to the couple's seat. So they have a little picture of them there. kind of surprising the couple. And then upon learning of their marriage would require a witness, Rick and Liam panicked. But Virginia, one of the flight attendants, a longtime New York resident, she stepped up and actually was the witness.
Wow. How cool is
their
that?
wedding. Yeah, so I don't know if she just kept in touch with them or just found them that weekend and attended their wedding. And I thought that was pretty cool.
That is super cool.
So they have a letter from the couple, writing to the president or CEO or whatever of JetBlue, just thanking him for his great flight staff. So it's kind of cool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
It was great.
It's kind of the little recruit of the week, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Another one.
So we have, there's some national stuff going on around the Supreme Court DOMA cases, and there's going to be marches in D.C. Around that time, around the 25th and 26th there of March. But there's actually events happening nationwide, and if you Google or go to Get Equals page, they have some information on Light the Way to Justice is what it is, and we can put a graphic up on the Agenda Facebook page too. But Light the Way to Justice, and what they're basically doing with these is they're kind of candlelight vigils, and they're being held on either the 25th or the 26th is kind of the suggested date. And there's going to be one in Phoenix, but they're happening nationwide. And ours here in Arizona in Phoenix is going to be on the 26th. And, it's just kind of going to be some speakers. We're going to tell some personal stories about how, DOMA really affects basic individuals. And then we're going to have a little candlelight vigil. And it's just kind of to highlight, while the deliberations at the Supreme Court is happening, to kind of highlight, the support that's really in the community and how many people that this really affects. So, check out your local, what's happening in your local area and try to support that event. Head down there, get the allies down there. It's going to be an important thing to show and have a strong presence at. So I would highly recommend doing that. And one of the stories that we're hoping to highlight at the Phoenix one was actually just on the news yesterday. I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but there was a couple guys, Mark and Bill, let's say.
Hey.
Well,
as opposed to the Dan and Bill show.
I really believe it's Bill. But anyway, Bill was getting ready to have surgery, and they got legally married in California when in that small window of time when they could do that. And so they have a marriage certificate, the whole 9 yards. However, Mark works for, I believe, one of the counties in Arizona here, and he was trying to take FMLA, so he was trying to use his family medical leave.
Nice to see those.
And he was denied. So he wanted to stay home with his partner and with his husband and help him through this back surgery, and he was denied family medical leave because they said it's only for spouses or take care of your kids, something like that. And so he was denied. They ended up the company ended up figuring out some vacation time or something, but it's not the same. And if he has to miss, with FMLA, there's a very specific amount of time, and so he was looking for 2 weeks, but it really could have been more. And with the vacation time, he doesn't really have that luxury, and if he doesn't obviously show up to work, he's going to lose his job. So, this really just highlights another story of how DOMA is blocking that. Here's a legally married couple that this wouldn't be an issue for, for any straight couple. They would be allowed to take.
With our question, yeah.
Right, he would be allowed to take and stay home with his spouse and take care of them from surgery, and he can't do that. So I
just find it interesting that they wouldn't name the county that he works for.
I didn't see that. It just says county.
They just say works for an Arizona county, and we contacted the county, and they said they had to follow state law.
Now it appears that they live in Phoenix, so I'm guessing the Maricopa County. But he could drive. I mean, Casa Grande's not that far away. He could live in Phoenix, and Pinal County is. I mean, Maricopa, the city of Maricopa, is technically in Pinal County. So I mean, it's really not out of the realm. He could live in Ahwatukee, right, which is technically Phoenix as a
city limit.
City limit, and work in Pinal County. So it's not hard, but it's a great story, and so I reached out to them. I'm hoping to get them involved in this Light the Way to Justice project and share their story a little bit broader with folks. But that would be great.
It's the same night as our event.
Yes. Unfortunately, the Light the Way of Justice event is the same night as QTalk America Studios open house event that we're having here. So you could go to both, maybe. I don't know. What time is the QTalk Studios one?
5:30 to 10.
5:30 to 10. Plenty of time. So you can show up, do the little candle thing at 6, hear a couple speeches, light your candles, and then come party at the QTalk America Studios.
Are all of you guys going to the candlelight?
Yes, I know I've been asked to speak. I'm not sure about what I'm speaking, but yeah, I just want to come to the Clayton McGee show to see if I can be on, so I can say derogatory things and curse every fifth word like they do.
You can do that here.
I want to be.
I'm the only one that curses here, and I don't think we're supposed to. But yeah, it's all my fault when that happens.
So what did y'all think about Mark Kelly's criticism on buying an assault rifle and a .45 automatic handgun?
So I gotta admit that I missed this. So please fill me in on what in the world happened, because I saw that there was a kerfuffle.
Yes, it was a kerfuffle. Nice.
Yes.
But I didn't have time to look into between the White House needing me and the new promotion. I didn't have time to look into all that. So Phil's in.
I'm gonna turn her mic down.
So,
now.
yeah. Oy vey. Scratch another lottery ticket, will you?
Okay.
So evidently, Mark Kelly went into a gun shop in Tucson and purchased an AK-47 and an AR-47 and a .45 caliber handgun to basically call attention and show people just how easy it is to buy them. I mean, you just walked in, bought them, and out he went.
Okay.
And
did you do this undercover?
No.
Okay.
No.
Did you do it with any camera? Like, I didn't know he was filming it for something, or
I think they were filming it for. I think
he
there
went
was,
in
yeah.
and walked out.
Yes, because there were. I remember seeing pictures of him filling out all the paperwork and everything. And he did this the day before he appeared with Gabby at the Safeway where she was shot 2 years ago. So it's kind of interesting. So, but of course now, he's saying that he did it to draw the attention, to which with a relative ease that you can buy these. And then, of course, the gun rights supporters are like, you hypocrite. You're telling us you want to get rid of these, and then you go in and you buy them. So,
but I think it's a valid demonstration, right? Like, to show how easy it is to make this happen. I mean, I think that's valid, with the story that he's trying to propose and everything. Now, what would have been better is if there was video of him then taking them to the city sellback, right? Like, they have a city buyback program, I believe, down in Tucson that they were working on, or him turning them over to the police or something like that. So proof that he did not keep them. He was merely demonstrating that he was, how easy it was to purchase them.
Well, and he's going to, and that's what he was saying, is that it only took him a matter of minutes to fill out the paperwork, a matter of, just 10 or 15 minutes to run the background check, and then off he went with his, newly purchased semi-automatic rifle.
Right.
He stated, though, on his Facebook, I think, that he intends to take the rifle and hand it into the Tucson police or give it to them for their SWAT team or whatever it is, but... it's just very interesting. I think I was reading where his Facebook page that generated like over 4,000 comments from people.
Wow.
Started to argue about it. So
I'm sure. It would have actually been interesting to take like a felon, right, to like a gun show, which I'm sure then would be illegal. Like, you don't want to get anybody in trouble, but somebody that's borderline. Like, they should really be looked at, right? Or maybe shouldn't have I wouldn't want to get anybody in trouble and say, look, this person could just show up to a gun. Here's a convicted felon, and he showed up to a gun show and he was able to get a gun, right? But that would be powerful too, right? Like, not only is it easy, but he's kind of a good guy. Like, he's an astronaut with a lot of clearance. Like, I would expect his background check to be pretty quick. Yeah. But still, I get the point, right? Like, but there still should be a waiting period. There still should be a background check. But I think that showing a gun show of just, anybody, right? Like, not Mark Kelly, not the astronaut with God knows what kind of clearance getting this, but that there's some, here's the average person and walked in. We don't know is he a convicted felon? We don't know who he is, right? Something like that. So, all right, folks. That's it for this Wednesday edition, our first video edition. Everybody wave again. Yay! First video edition of The Agenda. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/QTalkTheAgenda. You can interact with us between shows there. You can also send us ideas for your recruit or reject of the week as well, and maybe you'll see them featured on our show. You can also subscribe to us in iTunes so that you don't miss any of the show, and now you can find us on YouTube. You'll be able to find the videos there, so you can check it out and watch the show. And we will see you next week on The Agenda.